Okay, so this is my spoiler review of the new Netflix limited series, The Queen's Gambit, based off a novel. So I saw this show was getting incredibly high praise. I wanted to check it out for that reason. I was skeptical because it's about chess. Chess isn't the most thrilling thing, but I love Anya Taylor-Joy. I'm a huge fan of the movie The Witch. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and she's one of the best up-and-coming actresses. She is going to be a huge star, but what it's actually doing right now, it has about 45,000 ratings on IMDb, holding at 8.9 total, which is unheard of. Really, really high acclaim, meaning not just critics love it, but audience members love it. So when I go into a show with such high expectations, I know I have to bring them down, just watch it as is, like I didn't see any reviews, and just see it for what it is. So, of course, being me, I'm conflicted. I think this is the prime example of a show where I get really annoyed with a lot of fans and critics that love to claim almost everything is a masterpiece now. And I think the problem with that is they realize that parts of it is a masterpiece, whether it's masterful cinematography, masterful acting, maybe masterful themes, which I think it has all those three in this show, but it doesn't mean everything across the board is that. And I'm coming to that being the plot of this story and the decisions and how many episodes and how they went about this middle patch of the show. I really get frustrated because people like to just cling on to one amazing thing about a show and then say the whole show's amazing. And that's the same thing too, where you'll see excuses where people go, well, it's a love letter to chess, or, oh, it's a character study. That's great. Those are all good things, but I want the full package in anything I'm watching. I want a good plot, I want good acting, I want good character study, I want love letters, I want all of it, but just having one doesn't mean that's all it's set out to be. It should be the whole thing and stay entertaining. And I think where the huge problem with this is this show's so different and difficult to review because it's not an episode by episode really story here. It really does play, like I agree with a lot of people saying, like a movie. It's one long movie. But I actually really believe this would work better as a movie, and there's a great movie inside of, to me, a decent show. And what I'm talking about is I think you could take episode 1, 2, and 3, and you have all the necessary setup, what we need to know to have a great finale in episode 7. But this patch here, 4 through 6, to me is completely unnecessary, and I think you have what you need in those episodes to make a great movie, or maybe even a shorter series. And when it comes to my writing issues with that middle patch between 4 and 6, I think the stakes really fall off here and conflict falls off because it becomes redundant. We already see, and I love my favorite episode, episode 2, where she's beating all these guys at chess and moving up and getting recognition. And then we get a little story here where we start to see former opponents of hers. She starts learning from them and starts beating better and better opponents. However, by the time you've hit 6 hours of watching this on loop, it gets tiresome. Because again, in particular, I'm just thinking of the moment where she's at Benny's place and everyone's in the basement and she's beating them in a line. How many times do we have to see this? We already know she's a great chess player. We know she's getting better. But it keeps going and going where there's not really that high of stakes. And I think a big thing they missed out on is really zoning in on her drug addiction to these tranquilizers and to alcohol in general, where I feel like they forgot about it and they bring it back in the finale. And that really is frustrating because it's such a main point just in the first episode, in the first scene where we know she's gonna go to this story where she's facing Borgov and she's hungover, so we know she's a drug addict. And then in episode 1 in her backstory, we learn about her getting tranquilizers as a kid at this orphanage. But it seems like there's this gallivanting happening between episodes 4 and 6, especially when she's traveling with her mom, and they tip into it, but it's like she has an on and off switch with this drug addiction, which is pretty odd, and you almost don't see enough of the consequences of her erratic behavior. You don't see enough of her erratic behavior. She seems like she's in pretty good states throughout these matches and is kind of succeeding everywhere she goes. I don't think there's enough of an opposing force here. It's just getting this character to grow, which I'm talking about good character growth and good character study, to face their eventual opponent in Borgov and beat Borgov. So it's like this Rocky IV meets Annie. And I think that's good. But man, to have it go over 7 episodes and it just not have enough weight and clashing here, because again, you need two forces, especially a protagonist, to be unrelenting here for what they want. And she starts out that way. And then she becomes this character where she even has lines like, I don't know what I want. And that really goes into her being. It's not, she has the part of unrelentless in her chess game and determination. She's like the Jordan of chess, but in her life, she's a weak character in that sense to me, where they didn't go enough into her head. And I think a criminal mistake they made is they saved it for a big reveal that her mother actually was the one who drove them in a attempted suicide of her and her daughter. And I feel like that should have been known way earlier and would have added much more understanding of the character and stakes and really got us more into her head, because I feel like they only scratched the surface with her, especially with her demons. And there's some things that, to me, I really do have a problem with this, that with Neville Longbottom, right? He gets his teeth fixed for her. And this girl is beautiful, and she's genius, and she's someone who loves the game you love, right? And you're this nerdy chess player, and you're gonna leave her because of pills? I do not buy that for a second. And you saw this constantly happen, even with Benny, where he's like, at first he's like, no sex. Okay, yeah, that guy's gonna say that. Sure. You know, it's like, you gotta give me a little more realism here. She is beautiful. She is exactly their type. She's smart, and they're just all, oh man, such Casanovas that they wouldn't even want to dare go near her. And then when they do, it feels odd. It's like they felt like every character there had to be sleeping with. And that kind of got annoying to me, because I think it just falls back into this redundancy of this show. But my God, Neville Longbottom to just leave her, just without even having a thorough conversation about the pills. I mean, this guy's got it good here, you know, address it, figure it out. I mean, Jesus Christ, if this guy in real life saw her putting a tranquilizer right into her butt, he wouldn't go anywhere. So that just really frustrated me. And that's the tough thing about this, is it also is in that category of, it is a sports genre. It's like a sports movie, I feel, dragged out. And the problem with sports shows, are really hard to pull off for this reason, because again, it's usually not totally high stakes in the part of humanity. It is in the sports realm, and that holds here with the chess. But they did not lean enough into really what they had set up in her troubles in her life and her psyche. I wanted to go more into her mind. Now, themes really worked well here. I really in particular liked how they wrapped it full circle, where she looks up in her chess game against Borgov and doesn't have to depend on the drugs anymore. And that was really powerful. And I think that whole message was powerful. I also like how it delved into her being this genius, but the consequences and the things we all suffer through that, people can relate to that, and being shelled off from other people, and then eventually learning how to work on a team. That worked really well. The themes of feminism here really worked well. But again, even the main love plots just fell flat. And of course, she's going to fall for the tall, dark, and handsome guy. That's a little more realistic. But we still didn't get enough weight to that. We got the one scene in the hotel room with them, but she just eventually says she loves him. So it's like, give me more into that. You're touching into all these guys she's visiting while she's slowly progressing into a better chess player. Okay, this is why you're going to get bored as an audience member. I know I did. But again, I still think overall, it's thematically great. Its strongest episode to me was episode 2 and episode 1 and the finale. There's great acting here all around. No one misses a beat. Cinematography is special here. And I think the best thing about the show is actually the production design and the costume design here and the makeup. All of it really put you in that time, and you felt it. And you got to give props to the effort of the research here put into making sure they were accurate on chess. From what I hear from pro chess players, that they say this is extremely accurate portrayal, but unfortunately, I think they got a little too worried about that, where they forgot about keeping it an entertaining TV show at points for people to kind of more relate and understand, with a lot of heavy chess jargon. And I think the strongest stuff too is her relationship with the janitor, played by Bill Camp, and they kind of forgot about that too after episode 1, and then came back in the finale. That's my problem, is that they built some really interesting stuff, left it alone, and then came back way too late to me. And they just did not touch enough on the human part of her. So it's not a masterpiece. It has parts that are masterful in cinematography, production design, acting, makeups, and I think thematically I'll give it that too. But its weakness is its script. At the end of the day, and how it was plotted out, and this middle patch here was almost borderline unwatchable to me. So I think this is going to go under the little pretentious, a little overrated category, but still a good watch. I'm going to give it a 7.9. I think it'll eventually come down in score to the masses, because people who first watch it are the ones who were excited about it, and now people are going to come on by word of mouth and hearing how high it is, so they might get a little disappointed like I did. Who knows? But I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Let's be civil about it. I know I'm kind of giving some polarizing thoughts on it, but let me know what you liked about, what you disagree with me about, what you agree with me about. I love to hear all your thoughts. I read every comment, try to respond to as many as I can. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss one of my reviews. I do a bunch of TV shows, movies, and I also do celebrity interviews as well. And if you like what I do here, I ask for a kind monthly donation of $2 a month. There's a PayPal link down below. That will really, really help me be able to do this full time and give you guys more videos. And please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter and Instagram for more of me. And I'll see you next time.